climate deal, he gave. With Iran, he gave. With his relationships with other countries, Saudi Arabia, China, he gave. With Cuba, he gave. With the prisoner, Bergdahl, got one prisoner, gave 5 leaders back. He gave. So in that particular, but with his management style with Congress, it was competitive. He says, I'm going to win, you guys. I'm going to use my pen. So he used the accommodation style with foreign relations, but with internal relations, he was very competitive. So those are the 4 styles: accommodation, collaboration, cooperation, and competitive. And then there's a 5th one that's intriguing. It's called avoidance. And in the book, I describe, in chapter 2 of book 2, I describe how to avoid a conflict. There are 4 ways to avoid a conflict. If Trump had used one of those, remember the thing with Billy Bush where he was describing how to do with women, you can grab them anytime you want. Mm-hmm. When that was brought up on the air, he said, where did you get that information? And off to the races he was. He didn't avoid it. He took it on. If he had said, oh gosh, that's the stupidest thing I ever did. I should never, ever have said that. That's called negative assertion. When you screw up and you negatively assert that you screwed up, sometimes the problem will go away. If he had done that, it would not be what it is today. A second one is called negative inquiry. If you screw up and you get called on it, you say, well, what could I have done that would have made that better? Negative inquiry. To get feedback. So the people who is accusing you of something, all of a sudden now is on your side. And he's telling you what you could have done that would have made that better. And 9 times out of 10, it will make it better. Now, here's one of my favorites. It's called fogging. Now, you could look at me and say, Bullock, you got a big nose. You could say, and I could say, yeah, you could say that. Boom. I'm not going to get drawn in. If you get insulted, you could say, well, you could say that. You never agree with an insult because people are trying to suck you into something. They're trying to draw you into the conflict. And if he had, that's what I call fogging. You never agree with it. You just fog it off, just kind of throw it off. Well, you could say that. That might be possible. Never agree with it. Now, the 4th way to avoid a conflict is broken record. Let's say curfew is 12 o'clock. One of the kids comes in at 12:15. You say to the kid, curfew is 12 o'clock. But Dad, there was this curfew is 12 o'clock. Dad, you don't understand. We had this thing. Curfew is 12 o'clock. Broken record. Never get sucked in to the excuses that these kids or the employees are going to come up with. The same thing is true if you're a leader in a factory or whatever and clock in at 7 a.m. Somebody comes in at 7:05. You say, you clock in at 7 a.m. You're docked 5 minutes. Oh, but you don't understand. Curfew. Clock in at 7 a.m. You're docked 5 minutes. You broken record it. Never get sucked in. So the broken record, fogging, negative assertion, and negative inquiry are 4 ways to avoid a conflict. And it's fascinating. And as I grow older, avoiding a conflict sometimes is better than taking it on. As a school superintendent, when people came into my office complaining about something, I finally realized that all they wanted me to do was listen. I didn't have to deal with the conflict. So I avoided it and just listened. How much time we got left, baby?
We're winding down. I want to have you come back, man. But we'll talk about that off air. But I also wanted I saw a list of questions that you had. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Cleet Ulach, and, he's the author of book 1 and book 2, which you'll see in the show notes. But Dr. Cleet, I wanted to ask you about, you're very familiar with the 5 trust factors.
Right.
Could you share with us what are the 5 trust factors?
Well, this was my doctoral dissertation back in 1970. I wanted to investigate the relationship of openness, trust, and risk-taking. So I came up with this experiment, and that's my doctoral dissertation. The relationship between openness and trust is very strong. Trust has 5 factors. If we look at truthfulness, one of them is truthfulness. Now, President Clinton was very weak on that one. But ability, he was very high on. As a president, his ability was pretty good. He was a great president in many ways during his 8 years. So he was weak on truthfulness, strong on ability. The overall character dimension, he would probably be very low on because he was very self-serving. He was interested in his own needs, allowing that poor girl to service him the way he did. He was looking at his own needs, his authenticity. Who was this guy? I did not have sex with that woman. Who was he? What all did he get into that he should not have gotten into? And you look at the same thing with his wife, Hillary. Who is she? Authenticity, the overall character dimension. Does she care about anybody but herself? What will she do to get what she wants? That character dimension. He is very weak on. Now, when you come to Trump, I think his overall character dimension might be fairly good, but that's strictly personal. Then you get to the 4th trust dimension. It's predictability. When your wife comes to you with a problem, how you react to that problem determines whether she'll continue to bring problems to you. If you are predictable, but let's say she brings a problem to you and you say, wow, I agree with you. That is something we got to deal with. I tell you what, I'm going to put my energy into working this out. I'll get back with you. Then she comes to you with another problem and you say, well, I don't see why that's such a big problem. Are you sure you want to deal with this? Is this your problem? This might be your problem, not something that I want to deal with. So if you're unpredictable, they're not going to come to you with your problems. And then the 5th factor is confidentiality. If you tell someone something in confidence and they blow it, they aren't going to come to you again with something in confidence. So confidentiality, predictability, character dimension, truthfulness, and ability are the 5 dimensions of trust. And the interesting thing is you can be very trustworthy on one of those, or 2 of them, or even 3 of them, and not be trustworthy on the others. It's a very complicated construct one. But listening is an openness factor. So in any relationship, if you're a good listener, people are going to start trusting you. They're going to start opening up to you. And the cycle begins. So the levels of openness and trust continue to escalate. But it doesn't take much for it to de-escalate back the other way. You can screw up one time and trust goes down, just like that. The survey is on my website. All the behaviors associated with openness and trust. You can look those up if you're interested.
Now, with the website, is it really? Because if it is, I obviously I'm gonna have to put it in the show notes. But is it the westga.edu/TILT and then the squiggly line?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will make sure that you guys have it in the show notes. Also, I'll make sure it's on the Instagram and Facebook when we release it for those of you that want to see some of this interview.
Yeah, and My website is on the bottom of my email in the signature.
Okay.
So you can copy it there.
All right. Excellent. And the last question that I have for you before I pass it over to you to see if you have any final or last message that you would like to share with us is, what is something that you believed for a long portion of your life that you eventually found out you were completely wrong about?
Well, I've always been a person who jumps right on it to fix it. And many times that was a mistake. My dad used to say when I grew up on the farm, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I probably forgot about that a lot of times because I was a fixer. I always tried to fix things. And sometimes you just have to let things lie. I ran into too many principals over the years who, when they're hired, they go into a school that's working just perfectly. Everybody is in great shape. It's a good culture and a climate. And this new principal comes in and has to show them that he has the power. Position, reward, and coercion power, and they take control. And they ruin it. Within 1 year, the culture and climate in that school is bad. And within 3 years, I have to fire the principal because they don't learn that sometimes you just have to take what's there and not try to impose your will on it. That's probably my advice to your listeners out there. Stay cool, be a listener. Remember, you're to be a servant leader. You give control to people. You don't give it up. Because if you're the leader, you cannot give it up. They expect you to stay in control.
Awesome. And are you on social media?
I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. How do we find you on those platforms?
Well, you should be able to go to LinkedIn and put my name in, or Facebook and put my name in. Okay. And if you'll send me the site for this show, when I get it, I'll put it on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay, excellent. And before we get out of here, do you have any final message or anything that you wanted to say, but maybe I cut you off from saying?
No, I think you've been a great interviewer. You seem to be very astute with some of the things that you seem to understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So I think that's refreshing.
Thank you so much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Cleet R. Bulock, and this has been another Billionaire Brown Experience. Till next time, continue to be.
Motivating you to firm, fit, and fabulous. Here is our company website, www.femmefataleFitClub.BigCartel.com. We are a no-judgment zone, here to help any woman ready to take control of her health and well-being. Here's our blog, www.femmefatalefitclub.com. We offer not only personal training services and virtual fitness programs, we also offer products such as water bottles, a cute inspirational tank top for women that says #No Excuses, and support across our social media channels. Come join the club. Follow us on Instagram at Femme Fatale Fit Club, or join our group on Facebook at Femme Fatale Fit Club. Now back to your favorite podcast.